Hey everyone, welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game by critiquing current players. I am one of your three fabulous co-hosts, Derek Kubicek, and today we are going to be looking at episode 4 of season 48, The House Party's Over. I am joined today by two fabulous co-hosts, Ryan Stacy and Josh Wessler. How are you guys doing tonight?
I mean, I'm doing good. Obviously, without any spoilers, I am disappointed by tonight's result. But I think no matter what the result would have ended up being, given the tribe that went to tribal council, I would have been pretty disappointed no matter what. And it might have even been preventable. So that's something that we can get into later.
I think you can drop the might have. It was very preventable. Yeah, no, this episode was fun. There's a lot going on, a lot of new dynamics. This is not a spoiler because we saw this in the promo for last week, but there was a tribe swap, so it really changed things up. Very exciting. Interesting dynamics all around. No matter what with the losing tribe, it was going to be a bummer. There's a lot of fun people in the tribe, so it is indeed a bummer. But I enjoyed the episode, a lot of fun. Definitely more than all the tech issues I've been having the last couple of days. So Survivor's definitely been the highlight of the last 2 days because everything else sucks.
I think the most exciting part of the episode for me was weirdly something that didn't happen during the episode. It was the Survivor 50 vote, the
Mm.
second one, the second round that finally was opened up. I posted our unofficial opinions on our Blue Sky account where number one, we don't care what you do. Number two, let's go with minimal power. And number three, we don't care what you do. So that's more of a stick it to production. Ryan, I believe, went with no tribe swaps.
Yeah, because on an all-star season, I feel like tribe swaps typically end up with like the biggest name in the cast, a Sandra, a Boston Rob type going home. So to give the big players, the players we really want to see play, of the best chance possible, I want to do no tribe swaps. But normally I'm a fan of the tribe swap. I'd rather have that. But just on an all-star season, let's go no tribe swaps just because we could see, you want to see Sandra make it to the merge. Oh no, tribe swapping game changers. Oh no, tribe swapping winners at war and she's out both times. So, I'd rather see the names you were really excited about have a chance, whoever those may be.
Hmm. That's an interesting perspective because I would have automatically just said, duh, tribe swap because tribe swaps are awesome. But I think that's a really good point.
Yeah,
Because every single All-Star season that we get, let's be honest, there's always duds. There's always duds on there, and usually those aren't going to be the people who get targeted early on.
if there's a big danger situation, you're not going to target a dud in the cast to go home. You're going to target someone who's dangerous. Not going to name names. I'm 100% going to name names. As soon as we get to Survivor Game Changers, I'm naming names. Um,
Stay tuned.
have you met me? Of course I'm naming names. But yeah, the first one was what challenge do you want the final four challenge to be? And what was the third one? It was
Well, the third one was a tribe swap. The other one was a minimal
that's right, yeah.
power.
Minimal power. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, maybe I'd rather have the strategic advantages, but I want to send a message to production like, hey, tone it down.
Yeah, it was like minimal power, something
Strategic
strategic power,
and dynamic.
dynamic power. He forgot one key one, unlimited power.
Yeah, I was gonna vote for strategic, the middle one, just because I'm like, I feel like that's kind of what we've been used to recently without it getting, out of control. So like, I don't care if you do minimal, I don't care if you do strategic, just not dynamic. Absolutely not dynamic.
What sold me on minimal was actually the first part where they said advantages are rare and hard to get.
Yes,
I
that's what
would
I want.
I would have been okay with doing strategic, but make them rare and hard to get. But the problem was like that was the only place where that was present. So
Mm.
okay, if I'm gonna fight against advantage getting, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm taking my stand. So without any further ado on those things, I'm ready to get into spoilers on this episode.
Let's do it.
All right, three, two, go watch it. Good episode. One, and we are losing one of the California girls tonight. R.I.P. in peace, Thomas.
Not only that, but Josh and I both lost our winner pick.
Sad day.
So Josh and I, we gotta come up with some new ones here. Yeah, it's a rough day. It's a rough day, but you know what? It was a fun episode. And you know what? Thomas got what he Deserved. This is unavoidable.
Last week, this was toward the end of the episode, but I actually want to pose my gameplay question to the audience early on before we get into talking how we feel about this. I want some unbiased, unadulterated opinions. So, my question is, if you're Thomas and you have the secret advantage, would you reveal it to Shahin and Joe post swap or keep it a secret? Because we're going to share some opinions in a little bit. But now something dynamic has changed. You know how this has happened. You've got two close allies in this tribe with you. You don't know what's happening. Do you share it or do you keep it a secret? And if you do reveal it, when? So I'm going to give you a few more seconds to open that up or pause the episode. Yes, this is entirely preventable from the perspective of Thomas. It doesn't matter if he tells Joe and Shahan and they plan with it, or he plays it himself and goes rogue on the person that wasn't voted for. Thomas could have saved himself tonight, but he got a little greedy.
Got a little cocky, got a little greedy, definitely, and got tricked by Camilla and Kyle. Cap, big time got tricked. Awesome move from Camilla and Kyle. Really, really fun. Should we jump into the episode proper here?
Yes.
Okay, so the episode begins with Mary and Say actually working on squashing their beef and talking about like, should we stop fighting each other and just work together? Yes. Yes, you should. That's the best move for your guys' game. If there's no swap here, come together, vote out Cedric.
Also, it'd be hilarious.
Yeah. And Cedric would totally deserve it.
We worked on it, Cedric. We really did.
We'll see if they end up working together, come merge, because they're going to get separated because we're going to have a tribe swap. We're going to get 3 tribes of 5 here.
Yeah, and based off of the layout of each tribe, it's very possible both of them make the post merge.
Very possible. Wonder how many votes we'll get. I hope we get like 2 more.
I hope we have 2 more.
A 3 and 3 would be good. So our new Siva tribe, Chrissy and Mitch are going to stay here, which is interesting because they haven't really had a working relationship at all. They're going to get joined by Bianca, all by her lonesome, and then Cedric and Say. So Say cannot get away from Cedric. So interesting dynamic here, especially because Bianca does not have a vote. So it's a 2v2, but they don't know that. Only Bianca knows that. Over on Vula, it's all new people here. Nobody on Vula is staying here, and I'm sure they're all thrilled about that. We're going to get the California girls and Joe, Shaheen, and Thomas, joined by Kyle and Camilla. An absolutely stacked tribe that definitely will not lose any immunity challenges.
The Vula curse ends here.
Definitely, 100%. Over on Loggy, Eva and Star are going to stay here, which is hilarious because they don't get along. They're going to be joined by David and Charity, and then Mary. So yeah, really fun dynamics and interesting dynamics in all 3 tribes. This is a solid split, I think.
Yeah, and on this new one here, like we hadn't got a ton of it, but apparently David and Charity are fine, not being on each other's tribes at all. So it's kind of cool. You get 2 duos from OG tribes, both just completely ready to throw each other under the bus on both sides.
It's pretty great. I'm super on board with this. Normally when there's a tribe swap, people kind of stick to their group, but David's trying to throw Charity under the bus. Eva's trying to throw Star under the bus. It's good stuff.
Say is throwing Cedric under the bus.
Yeah, you love to see it.
It's messy, but in a fun way.
Now, granted, ideally you want to be able to work with anybody from your original tribe. So not so great gameplay somewhere along the way here. But over on Loggy, Eva was really nervous because, as mentioned, she's got autism, doesn't deal with change very well. Joe is not on the tribe with her. Luckily for her, she and David get along great because they both love jet skiing. They're both big fans of jet skiing, which, to be fair, I am as well. Have you ever seen a sad person on a jet ski? No?
No, that's always the joke about how money can't buy happiness, but money can buy a jet ski, and that's the next best thing.
Jet skis are awesome.
Yes, they are, especially the standing ones. I like all of them.
I like the sitting ones because I'm lazy.
And you can also stand on the sitting ones. It's fine.
Yep.
I like going in circles as often as I can, doing donuts and then flinging myself off of it by accident. That's the best.
Now, have either of you ever tubed behind a jet ski before?
Yes, I have.
I believe that is when I won over my wife. Is a family friend of hers was driving the jet ski and trying to throw me off the tube, and he couldn't get me off the tube.
So she just saw you and just like, man, this guy's just so cool.
Well, no, true story. She took a picture of my shirtless body that day and sent it to her friends because they didn't realize that I was a little more cut back then. I
Oh.
was I had something hiding underneath my shirt. This is so weird. True story. Yeah.
Okay.
She tried to play it off too because I saw it on her phone later by accident.
Look at this stud muffin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, is that stud gone? Yes. Replaced by a stiff? Yes. That's okay.
So Eva is going to offer Star up to the rest of her tribe on a silver platter and just spills the beans how Star has a beware advantage but hasn't figured it out yet. Just serves her right up there. Let's take her out. Bold move from Eva. Do I hate it? Not necessarily. This is kind of a tricky one because you don't want to come off as desperate, but also you definitely want to strike before Star does. If you think Star is going to throw you out, you definitely want to get in there first and build those relationships and throw that name up before Star does. So ideally, you have a good relationship with Star coming into the tribe swap. But yeah, I think Ava played it okay because she felt out who these people are. She got to know David at the very least. So it puts her a notch above Star if you feel like you can't work with her, which is fair at this point. I think drop them in here. The mistakes made were before this episode in terms of their relationship.
I I'm not a big fan
Yeah.
of the way that she approached it just because of, you know, yeah, you could look at it as if, you need to do it before Star does, which is mostly true, I think, but I think it really also matters how good each of your social games are. And we've seen so far, Star doesn't really have a great social game, and Eva does, it seems like. So even if Star does throw you under the bus first, as long as you don't wait until, after you lose a challenge to try to make strategic moves, like do it on the first day at some point. Maybe try to build the bonds first and then just kind of be like, yeah, I'm okay getting rid of Star.
When I thought about it, my gut instinct was to go towards Josh, where I didn't love it too much. And then I moved towards Brian a little bit because the key factor is she talks about how Star has a beware advantage, but has not earned her vote back yet. This is not information I think the others would believe after they lose immunity. This is very much a, hey, before we're at this point, if we babysit her, we will know whether or not she has a vote and or an idol, and I really don't like her. I think she's maybe still a little bit forward, but I do think it's important that if you want Star out, because Star is coming for you, to reveal that she does not have a vote before you lose immunity. Otherwise, it just looks way too sus. So it's a very rare time that I think a little conspiring pre-vote makes sense. If Star doesn't have this beware advantage, I think you have to wait until later.
Sure.
Wait until you need to do it to do it.
Tricky spot to be in for sure.
Absolutely.
We're also getting a confessional from Charity, and basically she thinks David's an idiot and can control everything he does.
Oh, and now everything from Siva makes sense.
So David is going to tell us, I don't like Charity and I want her out. I don't trust her. So yeah, it's interesting because David and Ava bond. Ava wants Star out. David wants Charity out. It's really funny.
And I'm fine with either of them going.
Yeah, and
I was
I would
really,
like to see both David and Ava stay.
I was really hoping that this tribe was going to go to tribal.
That would have been fun. That would have been really fun. Over on Siva, Chrissy and Mitch, they're gonna start working together because they have to now. They haven't had a strategic relationship before this, but they're gonna start working together now. And they are going to end up bonding with Cedric, especially Mitch, because it turns out when Cedric was younger, he had a stutter as well, and went to speech therapy like Mitch did, and was mostly able to overcome it. But like anyone with a stutter, it doesn't ever fully 100% go away. There are certain triggers that can bring it back. So they have a really, really nice scene together, bonding over this, discussing what this is like. So this is kind of a cool, unexpected relationship.
Hmm.
An unexpected one, and particularly with Chrissy and Mitch, because I mean, it's really easy that the episode highlights Mitch and Cedric's bond here. Chrissy and Mitch not in a strategic relationship, but this is why you don't burn bridges, people, because you never know what's going to happen, and you never know if Bianca's going to be showing up with no vote. So now they have a stranglehold if it holds, and they have to go to tribal because it's 3-1 and they don't even know it. But this is why you keep the bridges open if you can.
Bianca does not have a vote. And so she's going to try and work everyone, and she's going to mostly bond with Say, it seems like. And she's like, I really like you. I want to work with you and Cedric. And Say's like, actually, might want to rethink that about the whole working with Cedric thing. Get to know him a little more first. I wouldn't advise it.
See, this is what I would have rather had, compared to Eva on the other beach. Just like, no, no, it's fine. Go a different direction.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Probably not the best move for say, because she might need Cedric right now, so maybe don't be like telling people don't align with him, because that could scare Bianca off and aligning with Chrissy and Mitch instead. But Bianca doesn't have a vote, so it doesn't matter as much. But still, like if she has a vote, oh no, now she's with Chrissy and Mitch, and you're on the bottom.
Well, and also like Cedric still thinks that you would be working together. So if, they go to him basically like, "Hey, Say didn't really seem committed to working with you. Do you feel the same way?" Like he might be a little blindsided by that, and then all of a sudden you might be the target.
Mhm.
I love to make, say, the bullseye of whatever talking point that we're throwing out, from the sidelines, right? We're not on the island, we're not there for everything. I almost wish we would have seen more of the conversation she had with everyone else, because right now the edit is giving us that she's not talking to Mitch, she's not talking to Chrissy, she's actively working against Cedric, and she's primarily conspiring with Bianca on a relationship. That's not how we saw Say playing on the first beach. I believe that she's having conversations with everybody. I don't hate this move for her to go to Bianca and say, I'm willing to figure this out. But in the event that Bianca chooses to go with Chrissy and Mitch, which on the surface you have to assume that Chrissy and Mitch work together, this at least puts her in a position for Bianca to keep her instead of Cedric. It's not closing the door to working with Cedric. It's just saying, hey, you can trust me. Cedric, he gives off some weird vibes. We can make it work to get through this. So I feel like we're missing some information, and I like this move from Say as one of the more subtle ones because she didn't slam the door on Cedric. This was all to confessional and to Bianca.
And also, so one other small thing as we, if we're going to be, uh, taking digs at Say, when they were ready for a tribe swap, and swapping, she just bursts out, talking about how she was excited for the other tribes to turn on each other instead of targeting Vula. Um, don't say that in front of everyone. That is a great way to have them actually target Vula.
Yep.
Oh, say did she say?
Yeah. Chrissy, Mitch, and Cedric are going to talk about taking out Bianca, because they're all scared of Loggy. As I predicted, man, if this tribe had lost, I feel like I would have called my shot perfectly on like who's going next because I called Bianca as the person going. Uh, I could have been so awesome.
If
Instead,
only.
I'm just a little awesome.
Except now you have to have a new winner pick.
Yep.
So really, Ryan, you're a loser twice.
Yeah, it happens. I can't be right all the time. All right, and then we go over to Vula, where Camilla comes up with a great play. She, the five people on this group, the California girls, Camilla and Kyle, they're all on just sitting there talking, and Camilla's like, "Yeah, I was kind of on the bottom, kind of didn't really get along with anybody except maybe Charity a little bit. I was definitely going out first. Kyle and I, we didn't like have a ton to talk about." And Kyle's like, Kyle catches on pretty quickly on what she's up to, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, you weren't 100% going first." And truthfully, these two are two of the tightest people in the game, but they really throw the California girls off the scent here, and it's really an excellent move.
And particularly with Kyle having an idol, if you can subtly build that he's the threat from Siva, then they're more likely to try and target him, and then you can play your idol more successfully. Because it's only a 3-2 split on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be real careful about this, though. You have to be good at being subtle. There's a lot of people who might try to do something like this, and they can sniff it out immediately.
It helps that these two are playing. Well, none of these people have been to tribal council before, so it's a little harder to sniff out a lie when you don't really know what to expect. None of these people are seasoned enough yet. Try this on an all-star season, might not work. Then Camilla's also going to throw Thomas under the bus because she's going to talk to Shaheen, and I think Joe was there too, about the journey situation and basically say Mitch went on the journey and he didn't have a choice. He couldn't walk away. He had to play it and ended up losing his vote. Not true. He ended up getting, what was it, an extra vote or a block of vote?
I think it's an extra vote, but I could be wrong.
I think it's a block vote.
Maybe it is a block
I think it's a block vote. So, but she tells them he doesn't have a vote. But this throws Thomas under the bus because he went on that same journey and claimed he chose not to play. So just there's a little bit of distrust on Thomas for Shaheen and Joe. Like, is Thomas telling us the truth? And Shaheen is immediately going to ask Thomas about it, and he's going to claim she's lying. Maybe Mitch is lying to her. Okay. If I'm Thomas, I might fess up here, but play it really cute. Be like, oh, shucks. Yeah, I got it. I wanted to keep it a surprise, and maybe try and play it cute and then burn it quickly. Because yeah, your bluff has been called a little bit here. So yeah, if I'm Thomas, I might fess up and just be like, yeah, it's Survivor.
Or what you do is listen to the Castaway Consultants, and this was never a secret advantage. You went on a journey. You got an advantage.
Yep.
It's a tribe advantage, especially when you have a big grouping like five, like they did an original Logi. I think he should have fessed up to having this immediately,
Yeah.
and then there's no problem.
And play it as soon as you can.
Yeah,
Uh,
and if, obviously, we're on the same page with telling them right away, at least your core group of people right away, but if he's in this moment, you've got to make a really quick decision on whether or not you're going to fess up to it. And I think it ultimately comes down to, okay, what do you want the end result to be? If you are going to end up playing this at some point, in a way that is with, this immediate alliance, if you don't fess up to it now, it's just gonna look worse. If this is like four tribals from now or something. So yeah, I think like Ryan said, just kind of be cutesy about it. And then it's actually an option here later on at this next tribal council if you need it. Who knows? You might need it.
you might. We're gonna go to the immunity challenge, and Logi's gonna have a pretty epic comeback and win, and Siva gets second, sending Vula back to tribal council. And Jeff's gonna be like, "Oh, Vula's in last place again," but it's like none of these people have ever been on Vula before. Jeff, calm down there. It's not the same thing. But Vula is apparently cursed, and so these people are going to tribal council for the first time.
Love a good curse tribe.
So Camilla and Kyle, they're gonna play it really well, and they're gonna basically tell the California girls, "Hey, let's vote the other person out." Camilla throws Kyle under the bus, Kyle throws Camilla under the bus, and they do this as a way to gather information. But it's a debate between the California girls. Thomas really wants to Camilla out because she was throwing him under the bus, and Shaheen feels like they can pull Camilla in and work with her, so he wants Kyle out. Camilla and Kyle, but their actual plan is we're gonna give Kyle the extra vote and the idol and have him use it. Hopefully, all the votes are on that him. He can play the idol and knock somebody out of the game. Who's it going to be, Shaheen or Thomas? And we all know it's going to be Thomas. And I want to know what your guys' opinion is here because I kind of think they should have targeted Shaheen because there already is that level of distrust around Thomas. So let's say this works and you knock out Shaheen instead. Well, now there's a little bit of trust from between Joe and Thomas that is broken, as opposed to Shaheen and Joe. There's nothing breaking those two up as of right now. So I kind of think maybe they should have gone after Shaheen. What do you guys think?
I'm actually very much on Team Thomas.
Okay.
The reason being, and I should caveat this, we are not 100% positive that the extra vote from Camilla was not played tonight. So if the extra vote's not played, which I think was the right call, I think they realized that it doesn't matter even if you play the extra vote. If they put all three of their votes on the right person and you play the idol wrong, it's just a revote and they win anyway. What you need to focus on is the relationship then at that point. Shaheen and Joe, while they are clearly very well working with one another, by taking out Thomas after pointing out that he wasn't trustworthy, I think it shows that they're playing with at least like a little bit of integrity. Like you can trust what they're saying and what they're doing. Camilla and Kyle could easily say he was lying to you about that advantage. We felt he had one, and that's why we decided to target him. It doesn't completely burn the bridge with them, even if they have to be adversaries in the moment. It doesn't mean they have to be adversaries forever. So I think Thomas was the right move for them.
I think either would have been like perfectly fine. I think that the possibility of him having an advantage from the journey is a big part of it. If you want to try to find an excuse to go for someone else, if I'm, Camilla, and the second that I see Shaheen rummaging through his bag, I'd maybe consider taking him out instead. Be like, oh, he's willing to, play this way. Maybe we take him out instead. And let Thomas go for this one. But I think the journey advantage is enough to worry me about him just because, let's fast forward to next time. If it's 2-2 and he really does have an extra vote or a steal a vote or a block a vote or whatever it might be, yeah, that's going to break the 2-2 tie.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, especially if they keep the extra vote. Yeah, I think I'm convinced. I think you guys convinced me. I think okay. If they keep the extra vote, then yeah, I think I agree Thomas is the right move. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's why we're here.
Shaheen and Thomas, that like I said, they're going to search Kyle's bag. Shaheen's the one who's physically going to do it, but they're going to do it with Camilla right there. Like she's sitting next to them, they just do it. So that clearly shows, and Camilla reads this correctly. They want to work with her. They want to bring her in, which means Kyle's the target.
This could have been such 5D chess if they would have done this on purpose just to turn it around and vote for Camilla.
That'd been pretty hilarious. And the best part is the idol was in the bag. It was in Kyle's shoe, but they didn't look inside Kyle's shoe. So they
Well,
almost found the idol, but didn't.
and it helps that, idols this season are the most simplistic, like friendship bracelet keychain type
Yeah.
sized thing. So, just feeling around and not actually pulling everything out, it's going to be a lot tougher to actually feel it in the bag.
Bring back the gaudy, fripperlicious idols.
Yeah, like the giant tablets that James
China.
had.
Yeah, the James's tablets.
Or in Ghost Island when Wendell's immunity idol was literally the immunity necklace that Eric gave up in Micronesia. Giant necklace. Hilarious. Or make a chair. Make it a chair. Make the immunity idol a chair. You have to bring it to tribal council. I don't just hilarious stuff like that.
Oh, go full Horcrux rules. I
Yep.
kind of like this.
It's like you have this idol, but people are going to know about it.
Oh, here's a good idea. All right, so you win a reward, and like you get a hammock in the reward. This hammock is a hidden immunity idol. And you find a little note in there. If you bring the hammock with you to tribal council, it is a hidden immunity idol.
That would be hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Why are you bringing a hammock to tribal?
Don't worry about it.
I just wanted to be comfortable, Jeff.
If-
I love hammocks.
Just in case we go to another beach afterwards. You never know.
If you vote me out tonight, I'm taking the hammock with me.
Holding it hostage.
This is a great idea.
Survivor, maybe you should hire us as consultants. These ideas are solid gold. We want residuals.
So we're gonna go to tribal council, and Kyle and Camilo played this correctly. They suspected Kyle was the target. He was. He placed his idol. The California girls all voted for Kyle. So 3 votes Kyle, 2 votes Thomas. Thomas is knocked out of the game with the vote steal in his pocket. Clearly, he should have used the vote steal to do a 2-2 split to knock out either Kyle or Camilla if something was played. That was clearly the right move. So I think we can safely say the wrong person went home. If everybody had played optimally, the wrong person went home. It should have been Camilla.
Yeah, and by everyone specifically, we're saying Thomas.
Specifically Thomas. I mean, Shaheen and Joe did what they could. They didn't know about the vote steal. Thomas is the one who screwed this up.
Yeah, and to be clear, it was smart for the California girls to put all of their 3 votes on someone. They shouldn't have done like a 2-1 split in the hopes that Kyle or Camilla are, actually going to throw hinky votes on the other. It was correct, I think, to stack the votes up this time. And I think that proves that they were not fully sold on the fact that Kyle and Camilla were voting for each other. So
Yep.
we were sold at least a little bit of a bill of goods, same way that we were with Mary and Say last episode. That's fine. It builds the drama. I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, Thomas, huge blunder, and he season 46'd himself right out of the game. I guess it wasn't an idol,
It
but
wasn't an idol, but it was an advantage
it
that
was-
could have saved him.
yes, and it was the perfect advantage for this situation.
And if since the vote steal usually happens before they end up voting, they would have known about it, and then the extra vote would have ended up being played, I'm guessing. So we probably would have had like a 2-2-2 vote. Idol nullifies them, and then revote basically, and Camilla goes home.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, as soon as you realize that if you can do math and you're Kyle, you're like, well, sorry, Camilla, I'm keeping the extra vote.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you for the hardware.
So yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Wrong move, or wrong person went home.
Yeah.
Yep.
What did the social medias have to say?
Yes, on the social medias. According to social medias, roughly about 80% of people said yes,
Yes.
the right person went home.
What?
I don't make the rules.
What?
I think people like when hardware is played correctly.
Social media, you're wrong. Congrats to the 20% of you who are right.
And maybe they were going for the entertainment factor, like that gentleman from last week.
Well, that's not what we're here for. We're not here to be entertained.
Correct gameplay only.
Yep.
Only game bots are allowed here.
All right. Well, Rip Thomas. We'll get into our new winner pick later. Let's talk about the best and worst player of the episode. Derek, kick us off. Who is the best player of the episode?
I'm going to give it to Kyle. I love that he correctly played the idol. I think him and Camilla did a really good job, at least sowing doubt into the California girls. I didn't like how quick Camilla was to throw Thomas under the bus with what she found out with Mitch, given that she already had another plan and several pieces of hardware between them. And that's why I'm giving edge Kyle. But honorable mention to her for sure.
Josh?
I gave my best play of the episode to Camilla. I think that she did, Kyle was great, obviously played the idol, but that was kind of just a no-brainer move for him. When you're down 3-2, yeah, and it seems like it's going to be a pretty unanimous thing that all three of the California girls are going to stick together. You're going to play her idol every single time. I think that Camilla had a bigger hand in, the whoop-de-wop of it all, and making sure that her and Kyle weren't this close pair and that they would be completely fine going after each other. Kyle seemed to be following her lead more than anything with that. And he did a good job with it. So, like honorable mention to Kyle, but I'm going to give a lot of credit here to Camilla.
I agree with everything Josh said. I think it's Camilla. Honorable mention to Kyle. And what kind of sold it for me as well is that Camilla was the one who didn't get the votes. She worked her way in. They ended up she made bonds and they ended up targeting Kyle. So that almost helped break the tie as well. I know it was kind of intentional, like, yeah, we're okay with Kyle getting the votes playing the idol, but like still, she wasn't the one being targeted.
That's a good point I hadn't considered. It's not enough to move me off my spot, but I that is fair that she would have been safe regardless,
Yep.
given what happened.
Worst player of the episode, Josh. Who do you got?
Honestly, not a lot of bad gameplay here. I'm going to give it to Say. As is tradition, it seems like, for this season. One, didn't like the way that she was talking about, tribes turning against each other on the mat during the tribe swap. I don't like the fact that she kind of came out and said pretty outright that, like, maybe you think twice about pairing yourself with Cedric, because that could easily turn back against you. You haven't had a chance to feel out these people yet. And I don't know. It's just easy. It's easy to give it to her.
It's true. First off, as a reminder, we can't give it to the person who's eliminated, otherwise Thomas would get it.
This is one of those times where it's like, yeah, you really did this to yourself,
Yep.
buddy.
So I'm gonna give my worst player to Shaheen, because two reasons. He fell for this trick from Camilla and Kyle that they were not close. He bought this. And also he searched the bag with Camilla right there. I think that was a very bad move, and to have her there while searching her former tribe mate's bag, even if they really aren't that close. Do that when she's not around. So Shaheen's my worst.
I'm gonna give two sort of dishonorable mentions, one to Say, but like I said, I feel like we are missing a lot of the story there, so I didn't want to give it to her. Eva, I thought was also worthy of a dishonorable mention because typically we say don't bring this stuff up until you know you haven't won immunity. This is one of those cases
Mm.
where it might make sense to do it beforehand because Star lost a vote. I also landed on Shahin, but I'm going to go one shade further than Ryan, and I'm going to follow Rule 29 of the How to Survive a Horror Movie podcast. No half measures. The idol was in the bag. You got all of the bad and none of the good. If you're going to do it, you have to, shades of last week, commit to the bit.
Mm.
No half measures, Walter. No half measures, Shahin. The idol was in the bag.
Shaheen's gonna tell us, hey, I didn't do a full cavity inspection of the bag. You shoulda.
You know who would have done a full cavity inspection of the bag? Cedric.
The butt doctor.
The butt doctor. That's stupid.
I forgot he was a butt doctor.
This is a family-friendly podcast.
Yeah, very.
Butts
Look,
are funny.
Butts are funny. Uh,
And I am 12.
All right. Let's get into who is going next. We're back to three tribes, no tribe swap as far as we know next week. I guess there could have been one announced and we wouldn't know unless Josh, Josh, you said next week on Survivor, right?
Yeah.
Is there a tribe swap next week that was shown to
No.
us? Okay. We get three tribes. I'll start us off over on Siga. Keep it simple. Person doesn't have a vote. I'm going Bianca.
I went with Say because I feel like she is having these conversations we didn't see, and I think the bully ball will end up rubbing people the wrong way. And Cedric might be the one to turn on her.
God, that'd be hilarious.
Mhm.
But I'm going Bianca.
Okay. Derek, take us over to Loggy.
This one was really, really hard. I didn't know if it would go the direction of Charity or Star. I think because they can babysit her and the fact that she doesn't have a vote and they don't want her idol powered up, they will target Star first. I think Eva will be successful in her campaign if they go back to tribal. So I'm going with Star, but it's tentative.
That makes complete sense. I was debating between Star and Charity. I went with Charity. I don't have a great reason why.
Yeah, I was really struggling. Like Derek, you make a ton of sense. I just think it'd be funnier, and they're setting us up for a downfall for Charity. It feels like Charity's like, oh, David doesn't know what he's doing. Next episode, David takes her out of the game. So I'm just gonna try and read into the edit, but I think the more logical take is yours. But I'm just gonna try and guess
See,
Charity.
now, can I step in for just a
Yes.
second, though? If we're reading into the edit, Star was inexplicably not here again
Yep.
tonight.
You make a good point. What is she doing? Is she still like looking for the idol?
Like she wasn't there for the bonfire. She showed up in absolutely nothing after the tribe swap, like on the mats. She's just non-existent. She is Purple Star, man.
Hmm.
Star.
So
It would have been really funny if she would have been put like on a different like one of the other beaches, just because then she'd be stuck without a vote, none of her clues basically that she has. Like she should know them just by memory at this point, but at the same time, like I just have, this box that has an idol in it and I can't I
That'd be
can't
great.
decode it.
now Star was not featured in this episode, but I want to say one more thing about her. She should unapologetically be spending all of her time trying to find this idol right now, out in the open.
Maybe
Because
that's what she's doing.
because if you get it, you are for sure safe for one more tribal.
Yeah.
I think if it was me, I would unapologetically be like, yeah, I'm trying to find an idol. Buzz off.
Sorry, I got everything. I just need to open this. I'm sorry. I'm looking for an item.
You understand. If it was you, you'd do the same. Leave me alone.
I mean, she could just do the same thing that she did with her original tribe and go up to them and be like, "Can you help me?" And then
Please.
that's her, that's her in. That's her way to bond with people.
They should all be like, no. Josh, take us over to Vula. Who's going next?
Yeah, this is the one that I actually had a really hard time with, just because how's this tutu gonna go? I think it's got to be either Shaheen or Joe. I'm still sticking with the storyline that Joe and Eva are gonna reunite, so I'm just gonna go Shaheen.
Yeah, I think Shaheen is the more dangerous player. Take him out.
He went through Kyle's bag. Joe seems like the loyal lad. And if you keep him around, he might be able to bring in Eva, make some promises, and might even follow through with them. It might do well for Camilla and Kyle to have options. So I think it would be Shahin in that instance going home next.
What if we lose all three of the California girls in the pre-merge?
That'd be pretty funny and
I'd be
unexpected.
so sad.
I'd be very sad.
They would be very deniable then. That's a deep cut.
Stupid. All right. Let's go back to who can't win this game. Again, only one person here. Last week I switched over to Cedric out of principle, but I'm going to go back to say it was a one-off. But
I respect.
they're
I
still my
respect
bottom
it.
two. They're still my bottom two.
The only thing I learned about the people who are on Vula Tribe this week is that any four of them can win the game. They were all four game players. So I'm going to stick with original Vula, and I'm going to stick with Say. Even if I did like some of the subtleties she incorporated after the swap. Not the subtleties right after the swap where she said, I can't wait for them to eat each other.
Yeah, it's still say. Don't need to add anything.
All right, let's check in with the survivor pool. Josh, sorry, you ain't relevant here.
I ain't relevant, but I can narrate for you guys if you
Yeah,
really feel like it.
Sounds good.
So we did not lose any listeners this week. We had a lot of votes for Cedric. I think had the most out of anyone out of the remaining listeners. But yeah, no one was lost. And at the end of last episode, Ryan had picked Mitch and Derek had picked Mary. So both of you guys are still in. And also for both Ryan and Derek, neither of you guys had picked Thomas yet. So that's another one down that you can't use.
Another one bites the dust.
Someone with an advantage too, which that's my bread and butter. If he'd survived this episode, he might have been my pick this week.
Surprised you didn't pick him.
I picked the other guy with an advantage, and boy, oh boy, did that pay off. Yeah, last week it was 50-50 between Mitch and Thomas for me, and I'm like, I think Loggy's going to get targeted. I'm going to go with Mitch. Boom. This is why I am a Castaway Consultant. I'm
Smart.
I'm a smart boy.
I'm going to go with Camilla this week.
Well. I'm also going with Camilla.
I guess we're pushing.
Yeah, we're pushing, and we're pushing no matter what. I mean, the listeners can beat us
The
this week,
listeners can win.
but between the three of us, this is a push.
I have a
Uh,
feeling there's going to be quite a few Camilla votes here
okay.
from the listeners.
Everyone picks Camilla, and Camilla goes home, and we all push. That'd be hilarious.
Except Josh, who still
Except
Except for
Josh.
me. And the other dead listeners.
Yeah, the graveyard, yeah.
Last thing we got to do was our new winner picks for Josh and I. We both had Thomas. We both lose Thomas. What are you going to do? Tribe swaps, but again, self-inflicted on Thomas's part. Josh, who are you moving on to? Who is your new winner pick?
I don't like this. I did not like trying to decide this because I mean, I felt like I had a pretty difficult time in the premiere trying to choose from people, and it's not really any easier right now. I feel like it's still hard for me to picture these people, any of these people, being a winner. You know, I've liked Eva, but she's had a pretty flawed game at the same time. Underdog story, Mary, I think could come out of this as well. And then there's Camilla. You know, you could toss Kyle in there, but I like Camilla more between the two of them. She is already being seen as a threat though, just from this episode. But as if they keep taking out the California girls, you know, maybe that doesn't matter. So I'm gonna go with Camilla.
Great minds
Easy
think
to
alike, Josh. I'm also going to go with Camilla. Yeah, for me, it was the two of them and Mary. Camilla, Kyle, and Mary were kind of the three I was looking at. And I think I'm rooting for Mary the most, but I really like Kyle and Camilla, and I just feel like Kyle might get targeted more likely post-merge. Camilla might survive, so I'm based on a duo who is the physically weaker the duo. I'm going to take Camilla.
Mm.
So we're still on the same page.
All right.
Who do you have?
I have Joe.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm feeling at least a little safe. But the California girls lost a key member tonight.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Okay. Well, that is episode 4. The house party may be over for this episode, but not for this season. Guys, anything else?
No, I don't think so. You know, go ahead and follow us at Castaway Pod on all the social medias if you want to watch some video. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook is Castaway Consultants. We update our website, which is thecastawayconsultants.com. And then go ahead. I know Derek usually shouts it out, but I know he did earlier in the episode about, you know, what to reply with on Spotify. So I'll just say go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It, like, honestly, seriously, is the best way for other people to discover the podcast, because then it helps those platforms recommend our podcast whenever people are listening to something, you know, kind of similar to it. So we've seen whenever whenever there's a surge of reviews, a lot of times there's a surge in new listeners too. So please, 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 please go out and do that.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And remember to get in your survivor pools if you're still alive.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Let's keep it going. All right.
Everyone's been doing good with that so far. So,
Yeah.
you know, good job.
Good job, everybody. Let's keep it going. All right. On that note, this has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.